Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Software Plaza podcast. My name is Twain Taylor, and I'm editor at Software Plaza. I want to encourage you to go and check out all of the stuff we have over at Software Plaza. We're doing a lot of articles each month. We do event coverage of things like KubeCons that happen, other events as well. And we have a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you're in the cloud native Kubernetes space, and if you want to know what's the latest and greatest, then head over to Software Plaza. We've got a lot of cool stuff over there for you. I'm quite excited today for our conversation with our guest, who is from a company that it's so popular in the cybersecurity space. It's like if you're in cybersecurity, you've heard of them. And they're the OGs of cybersecurity, and they've been around for a long, long time. I think for the past 2 decades, they've been really influential in the space. I'm going to be talking to someone from Checkpoint, and you've definitely heard of uh, that company if you work with cybersecurity. And I have with me Roy Barda, or as he would pronounce his name, Roy Barda. Uh, he's he's the director at Checkpoint, and he heads a product called CloudGuard WAF, which, as you can see, is his wallpaper. And he's here to talk to us about what Checkpoint is doing in regards to this particular product that he's working on, which is web application firewalls, and just Checkpoint's approach to it. That's our conversation for today. And with that, I'd like to say hello and introduce our guest, Roy. Roy, thanks for coming. It's great to have you with us.
Hi, good to see you and good to have everyone with us. Nice to meet and talk about cybersecurity here.
All right, all right. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to the conversation. As we get started, I wanted to just ask you about just your background and what you've been up to prior to Checkpoint, how long you've been at Checkpoint, and the things that have led you to focusing on WAFs, which you do right now.
So, do you want to hear the real story or the fake story?
Preferably the real one, for sure.
Okay, so the real one is actually not related to cybersecurity. I was joining the IDF like every Israeli, and in the IDF, what I did is I learned programming, and I developed some stuff related to computer vision and rendering engines, really not related to cybersecurity at all. And then after a few years, I thought like, I know how to develop stuff. I will go to learn electrical engineering, and I will try to develop chips and stuff like that. And I finished my electrical engineering degree after 4 years. I graduated with ownership, and then I simply got a call from a friend. He told me, come to Checkpoint. That was 15 years ago. I didn't know he was going to plant me here for 15 years.
15 years
So I
ago.
joined
Wow.
Checkpoint, and I just got into endpoint security teams. I was developing like Windows services and Windows kernel drivers,
Was how was
handling incidents
how was
and stuff
how
like
was
that.
Checkpoint? What was Checkpoint like 15 years ago? Was it still a startup, or had it already become enterprisey and mid-sized?
I think it was already an enterprise, but a small one. Like
All
now
right.
now it's a huge one. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen it grow. I've seen the kitchen in the office grow. Like we had like at first only bread with some cheese, and now we have much more stuff. And the company grew like from I think 500 developers 15 years ago, and we have like 2,000 and more in our R&D organization. So we grew, we got bigger, and we got bigger because the cybersecurity industry got way more bigger as well.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody who I speak to on this podcast who does something in cybersecurity, I think half of them have said they worked at Checkpoint at some point in the past. So I think Checkpoint has just had such a huge influence on cybersecurity that I think so many people who worked at Checkpoint have gone out and started other cybersecurity firms, and probably like a huge percentage of cybersecurity startups, they have alumni from Checkpoint, right?
Yeah, so I think you are well aware with some of them, our competitors like Palo Alto, their CEO is from Checkpoint, and we have many startups and many already enterprise organizations that grew from Checkpoint, like I can say Orca or other companies. Checkpoint started the firewall industry, I think it was 30 years ago. And it leads the cybersecurity industry for the last 30 years, and it's a good place to grow. Like, I didn't know a thing about cybersecurity when I joined Checkpoint. I wasn't even a good networking engineer or understood anything about traffic and HTTP, and I learned. And Checkpoint is the best school for learning. And all the people that you said that went through Checkpoint and maybe moved to other cybersecurity companies or started other cybersecurity companies, they all learned and they all did their school here in Checkpoint.
Quite a story. I think very few companies can boast of that, a culture that really focuses on learning and improving each and every employee. That's amazing. Um, so I wanted to talk a bit about the history of cybersecurity a bit in detail. Before we're going to be talking a lot about WAFs, web application firewalls, which is your focus area at Checkpoint. But I want to just take a few steps back and talk about what's been happening in cybersecurity over the past decade or so that has led to the need for something like a WAF. What are some of the key challenges? What are the trends that have made WAF to surface as a key piece of the entire cybersecurity puzzle?
So so I think I've seen it all in the last 15 years. I started or the industry started with encrypting disks and providing laptops to users. And then there were ransomware, for example, and ransomware started, and now there were another new types of protections, like even if they do honeypots or they do some quarantine for certain ransomware. So Checkpoint has worked on that a lot, and then there were like ransomware databases where you have MD5. And after ransomware came like all the web application security holes like Log4Shell, Spring4Shell. Again, another type of attack from another layer on your company. And even when I started, there was no cloud. Like there was Checkpoint offices, 2,000 employees coming to the office every day, and they are all behind Checkpoint firewalls, and everything is secure that way. But like 7 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 9 years ago, everything changed. Like there's no more this perimeter, or there is this perimeter, but there are a lot of more perimeters that we need to protect.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wow. Quite a change that definitely accelerated, like you said, 7 or so years ago, and especially with remote work and the pandemic. Um, so, so what are some of the challenges that CISOs face, that security professionals face on a day-to-day basis when it comes to implementing firewall solutions for their organizations? What is the ground reality that you see?
So I think that because we have such diverse environments, firewall solutions, we have solutions out there that are very let's say developed to match the environment they're running on. Like if you're using cloud solutions, then you have and you have certain types of firewalls for the cloud and certain types of firewalls for on-prem, and we have SASE for remote work and for access. And I think the secret and what everyone should do is to unify it, to give the customer one experience to manage everything, because the customer who manages large amounts of security solutions in different areas, like say they have a cloud security team and a data center security team and maybe endpoint security team, then they're just wasting a lot of man hours on maintaining a lot of security solutions. And I think the real secret and the real source is to bring one platform, okay, to manage everything, all the challenges that we talked about, remote work, cloud, and the data center in one place. This is what we are doing in Checkpoint.
Okay, interesting. But the first thought that comes to my mind is all of these are so different. That's why they have like different approaches to securing them. So I'm thinking like unifying them itself would be a challenge, right? Like unifying security for these different parts of the digital ecosystem. Could you talk a bit about that and how, so what are some of the challenges that come with this complexity? How is securing, a data center different from securing the cloud and is different from securing edge? And like, what are some ways, some approaches that we can take to going beyond these differences and still unifying them despite those differences?
So let's take, for example, cloud and data center, and then we'll talk about remote work. Okay. On the data center, we have a clear perimeter. We don't need to know what's happening inside. We trust the inside of the data center or our organization. We usually protect it from the attackers outside. But the cloud made us to change the paradigm and look at things differently. Things are going to be shifted to let's say identity-centric approach, regardless if it's data center or not. What Wayne can do, what Roy can do, what the service account can do, and the entire goal is to have, let's say, zero trust and least privileges access to based on the identities. So it doesn't matter if it's data center or cloud. It's based on who is doing and what is he doing. And if you build management system that will allow you to configure those configurations, like who and what, and you'll be able to have like intelligent systems to discover them, whether they are on the cloud or on-prem or anywhere else, or even on their own endpoint when they're connecting from abroad, then you will be able to implement a unified model to manage this challenge. Because the challenge at the end is identity security and zero trust model for those users.
Okay, interesting. And could you talk to us also a bit about, there's cloud and then there's also the more modern version, which is cloud native, where, we're talking about Kubernetes and that ecosystem. Has that brought in anything new at all in terms of the challenges to securing the cloud native workloads and for firewalls? Are there new challenges that have come up because of this?
Yes. So I think there are the people challenges, like the people are used to work on a certain way. Like if you want DevOps people to maintain a gateway, it's kind of complex for them. So and they would like or prefer their solutions to be running natively in their Kubernetes or natively in their AWS environment. Or as a service. These are the two options that I see, but they don't want to manage like another VM in front of Kubernetes to inspect traffic or do something like that. So the people that want those stuff cause the security companies or the cybersecurity companies to develop all kind of new mechanisms. For example, we'll talk about it maybe later, but my WAF can be deployed as a Kubernetes ingress inside the customer Kubernetes environment. Okay, like Checkpoint Gateway is a VM, for example, but my WAF, which is a newer product in Checkpoint, can do that and can integrate easily with a Kubernetes cluster of a customer, and it can even run on, for example, ECS or somewhere on Fargate without the need to have real workload on your environment. And that's the change. Like, everything is going to be much more smaller. We're not going to have like those big machines that are running in front of every workload, and everything is going to be natively connected either through API or through let's say containerization of the security solution into the environment that the customer wants, regardless of what it is. It can be OpenShift, it can be your Kubernetes, it can be as a service. Now, the other option is to consume it as a service with APIs and manage it with APIs. People want automation. Like, people want everything automatic in the cloud. DevOps want everything automatic in the cloud. So this is the change that we are going to see. We are going to have all of these solutions deployed in various ways that is much more native to what the customers are doing to deploy their own workloads.
So let's talk a bit about even Checkpoint and just what you're building there with CloudGuard WAF. Talk to us about the approach you take there, Checkpoint takes, and what's unique about it and what does it bring to the table.
So I'll explain how we developed this product. We got this product to the market 5 years ago, and we were relatively new in this market. Like, there are big companies, not bigger, like Imperva or F5, that control the WAF market for 25 years. And we kind of like looked at what they are doing, and we talked when we interviewed customers who are using different solutions of WAF, and they all challenged us with the fact that they need to have to maintain a large team to manage the WAF and to manage the application changes that are now much more common than they used to be because of the cloud and because of CI/CD and all of those mechanisms. So what we are doing differently is we kind of broke down the entire approach. Like, WAF has signatures, okay? They look at an HTTP request and they check if it matches a signature. If it matches a signature, they trigger some action. It can be block for 5 minutes, it can be block this request, it can be just log, But they trigger an action, but it's a 0-1 solution, okay? 0-1 meaning if you detected the signature, then you decide to do something. If not, then it's not an attack for you. Now, the problem with this approach is that someone needs to write the signature. Like, there must be a research team on the vendor side that will write signatures and maybe deploy them to all of his web application firewalls, so customers will be protected. And by definition, this cannot block 0 days. And not only that this cannot block 0 days, if it calls false positives, you're going to remove this signature, and you're going to be left without security. We built something else. We built, let's say, an AI mechanism, okay? And we kind of score each request for the likelihood for it to be malicious. How is it really working? Okay, we gathered a huge amount of malicious payloads inside Checkpoint. We got it from the gateways, we got it from many other security solutions, and we try to find those common grounds, those common indicators that allows us to understand to identify malicious stuff. Now, what we also did is we ran an AI algorithm that scores them, that tells what's the likelihood of it to appear in malicious traffic versus legitimate traffic. And then we created an AI model that looks for those indicators in the traffic and compares them and checks the HTTP request. And at the end, it doesn't reach a decision whether to block or allow, but it also sends it to a second engine that kind of creates a baseline for the application, learns how the application looks like, learns how people are using it, and so on, and we are left with the anomalies. So the indicator approach allows us to detect 0 days, because I need something small in the traffic to find that it is malicious, if it is like probably malicious based on our research. And the second layer that kind of builds the baseline help us to avoid the false positives, because it might be that everyone on a specific parameter sent this indicator. So I want to learn it. I want to understand that it's the baseline and not cause a false positive. And then what we created is kind of a product that learns the application behavior, left with the anomalies of the attackers, and then able to block the attackers based on those anomalies.
Very interesting. And you also mentioned APIs, right? It connects through APIs, and I saw also on your website that this also helps with securing APIs itself. Could you talk a bit more about that API security and what it means for that?
Yeah. So I'll start with the problem. Like I'm gonna maybe talk about my problem in my organization. Like I have a lot of developers. They develop a lot of APIs, and some other people are using those APIs. Now the problem is that they have no idea what they're doing. This is the first problem. This is how everything starts. I'm like the CISO. I'm in charge of the security. I'm not really the CISO, but I'm like the CISO in this case. I'm in charge of the security, and I need to understand and know what they're doing at every step of the way. And they keep on promoting to production stuff and changing stuff, and I need to have control on this. So the first thing we delivered in our product is an API discovery solution, okay, which allows you to really build a schema of all the APIs we saw in the traffic. Okay, if someone sent even a simple API one time to a specific endpoint, we will see it. We will update our API schema for it. So we kind of give the customer the API schema, or the security administrator the API schema that he wants to have, but no one gives him. And we also track changes. We have a full dashboard that tracks changes so that APIs are listed in use, and maybe suggest the administrator to remove them. That's the first part, which is all about visibility and what's going on. The second part says that visibility is nice. It's good, but we are a prevention company, if you know our motto. So it's prevention first, and we want to help customers to be secure. So the schema that we created, we can also enforce it. Okay, you can bring us obviously your own Swagger schema or API schema, but we can also enforce our schema, and then developers cannot change their exposed APIs without talking to Roy or to the CISO or to whomever in charge of security. So that's the second thing. And this year we are working on a few more features in this field. We are going through a phase to detect anomalies on API usage. Like the easiest one is rate limiting. Obviously we have it already, but it's hard to detect anomalies of misuse, like when you try to guess CVV number of credit cards and you already got the credit card. So it's not about rate limiting. I can do one request per hour, but it will take me 1,000 hours, but I will detect your CVV. So this is stuff that we are working on, and interesting stuff coming later on API security, and I think we with AI, MCP servers, we might talk about it later. We're going to be it's going to be a big thing, API security.
Interesting. One more thing I wanted to ask you about, which I saw on your website, is contextual AI that you use in your product. It gives context to your firewall solution, your web application firewall solution. Could you talk a bit about this? What kind of context are we talking about? How does this work?
So we have like this intelligence mechanism in our WAF that connects dots between different checkpoint solutions. For example, we can get a request from a certain user, or let's call it an IP, and we can ask our intelligence system, what do you know about this IP? Is it a malicious actor or not? Okay. We also can get we can update the information. We can say, guys, we know that this IP tried to attack a different site of a different customer in another time, so you might want to treat it as suspicious. So we build context for users, for example. We also build context for the application. Like we say everyone did this and that on the application, or the application is Jira. So if it's Jira, we know automatically to protect it differently than we would protect, let's say, Confluence application. So these are the kind of stuff that we build context for the requests that we are getting on the WAF. We understand where is it coming from, why is it coming from there, what is it trying to access, and then our security measures are much more dynamic and much more accurate than other solutions.
So you've described the challenges and you've described the solution for us, Checkpoint's approach, and you've given us quite a few details about it. And I was wondering if you can show it to us in action now, what it looks like. What are the key metrics or the key data points that you see in the product? Give us a walkthrough if you can.
So this is Checkpoint logo. You're probably aware of it, and this is something that we're going to show about WAF and API security. This is Checkpoint Infinity Portal. In Checkpoint Infinity Portal, you can manage all Checkpoint apps. Checkpoint has many different security solutions, as you mentioned. I'm in charge of the WAF, so as you can guess, we will go to CloudGuard WAF and web application and API security, and we'll see how we manage actually our products. So when we enter the solution on our tenant, we can really go and manage our assets. In this demo, we will see that we configured a lot of assets, and you can see that they are configured in different environments. We have assets that are managed by SaaS. For example, the traffic is going through Checkpoint Cloud. We scan them on our cloud, and then we do the inspection there. And we can see that we have agents on Kubernetes, and that we have agents on Linux embedded agent, meaning we can connect to Nginx, for example. Many different kinds of solutions, and we can protect different applications. So what we're going to look about simple juice-up application. It's a very common application, like when you demonstrate WAF, and we can see the capabilities that we have. We can turn on IPS, we can turn on bot protection, we can turn on our WAF, and we have our learning mechanism. We mentioned that we are learning the baseline, right, every time. So we have some gamification on the learning progress and the learning status. Like we can say how much time elapsed and what learning level you are, and the idea is that you progress with the learning levels. You start at kindergarten and you move once you send more and more requests to graduate and then to PhD. And once you move to PhD, we recommend you to move to Prevent. And since we have our learning engine, so we also have something that is called supervised learning, meaning there are cases that we don't know to decide if the traffic is malicious or not. Let's say that you have a machine-to-machine traffic, okay? In machine-to-machine traffic, I cannot say anything about this traffic because I don't have any context. I don't have other users doing this. I don't have anything else to say about those traffic, and I still see the indicators that I talked about. So in some cases, we ask the users, help us to decide and fix our learning mechanism, and then we learn from the user decision, and kind of like update our learning data for this application and the baseline, so we will have less false positives.
All right.
So let's move a bit forward. So this is a demo application. Again, if you're not familiar with WAF, then once you get familiar, we will see it on every demo, on every WAF demo. And this demo application has a vulnerability, a simple SQL injection vulnerability, okay, that kind of like grabs all the users from the database and what they did and so on. It's nothing very fancy. And what we are going to show, this is right now unprotected, and we're going to show that once we protect it with the WAF, this kind of attack gets blocked. Okay, so we can see that we will go to WAF dev checkpoint.com, and we will run the same attack, and it gets blocked by the WAF, and we can see the logs and the dashboard and everything that we have in the application. So first of all, this is our dashboard. You can see here everything is going on with all of your assets, and you can filter based on the asset that you want. You can see the number of requests, you can see the attackers, you can see how many suspicious events we had and what we did with them, and so on. And if you want to detect a specific event and maybe look at it, so what you can do is move forward to the important events tab, look for the trace ID that we just saw in the block page, find the event, and then you can see all the information, why we blocked it, and again, the interesting part here is the indicators. We don't have a signature for this attack, okay? We just logged for the minus sign, for the from sign, for different small regexes, and we kind of did our scoring algorithm based on that and decided to block this attack. So this is one cool thing we have. Obviously, we can see all the information about the attack and so on. This is one cool thing that we have, and now I want to show something related to API security. So we're going to move a bit forward with the movie. And in this case, I have some application that has an API part for the application. And what we are going to do here is going to turn on and look at API discovery. API discovery is the model that I mentioned that has built a schema for the application. And what you can see here is that this schema, this schema is automatically built, and we can go to the learning tab and see all the APIs that we learned on the application, and even the learning phase. Again, another learning for the API discovery part. When we are ready to tell you it's your final schema, we tell you, and even for the schema, we tell you when to enforce it. It doesn't change at all right now. You can enforce it and make sure that these are the only APIs that you have. Another cool thing that we have on API discovery is we know how to identify PIIs or maybe credit cards or unique IDs or keys and so on. And we have the ability to provide you the Swagger schema to yourself. Maybe you have systems that work with Swagger schemas. So we will provide you a full Swagger schema for your usage, and you can see that we can look into the body of requests, look into the post, see the full schema, how it works, and so on. So this is the part of that we do on API discovery, and obviously we have many more features. Let's think about API security, and then I'll talk about more features. So we have full dashboard showing all the APIs that you have. Okay, you can see the most used API, the least used APIs, the not in use API. You can see everything again and filter everything any way you want it. So all the information that you have, and you can see that the discovery of API changes, how much changes happened like yesterday, today, and how much what APIs you have that are not currently in use. So maybe you can drop them from your schema. Those are the stuff that the security administrator needs to understand what's going on, because without it, he can't understand what's going on. So this is we have all the filtering capabilities. So this is one thing that we brought to do API security, and I will stop here and not show the enforcement, but I will say a few words about some extra features that we have that are unique to Checkpoint. Maybe we have and maybe I'll stop the sharing. We have file security solutions, meaning we can use Threat Cloud in Checkpoint and maybe scan files that are going into your web application or uploaded by users to your web application, and we can check that they are not viruses, obviously, but we can also do threat emulation on them. So we can do sandboxing, and we can look at what those files are doing when they run on your machine and decide whether to block them or not. And into our WAF, we have our award-winning IPS mechanism that exists on Checkpoint gateways, and we integrated it to the WAF as well. So we can also have signatures that are not necessarily related to WAF signatures. It can be like a known username or and password vulnerability in Apache. it's not a web application attack, but you still need to protect against it if you're using Apache. So this kind of capabilities, like maybe complete the WAF offering that we have. We also have rate limiting and so on.
All right. Wow, thanks for that comprehensive walkthrough. You've definitely shown us a lot. And as we wind down, I want to just ask you about, as you look ahead in the coming year, what are some of the things that you're keeping your eye on related to WAFs? What are some of the upcoming interesting developments in the space? Maybe something that you consider maybe on your roadmap or is on your roadmap. Talk to us about the road ahead.
Okay, so I'll start with saying AI. I haven't said AI enough in this podcast, so we need to say AI at least 5 times. So we are seeing the use of AI in many applications now. There are 2 places to protect against AI. We can protect from the prompts the user is entering AI application. Like, let's say that I have an application, it's connected to some database, and I'm giving the user a chatbot to talk with this database or to communicate with my application through this chatbot. And then I'm like, the user can do what he wants. No WAF can scan this traffic because it's just English letters without understanding what they mean. It's good if it's English letter. It can be an image. It can be some complex stuff. But we are going in the real short term provide security for applications that use AI. So we are going to scan prompts. We are going to anonymize prompts. We are going to do DLP and prompts because at the end the LLM or can provide really undeterministic responses, and we don't want information disclosure, but we don't want to have another kind of attack entering our backend through the LLM and through a prompt without us being aware. So I think AI or Gen AI security is one of the most important things for applications like in the next 1-2 years. But it's not enough. We talked about MCP servers and AI, and I think all of the AI agents in the world are going to use MCP servers, and at the end, those MCP servers are going to use APIs. So we need to understand how they use the APIs. We need to do anomaly detection for those APIs because it's not users anymore. It's machines that are going to run automatically APIs based on their decision, not our request. And we need to make sure that they are doing it right. They are not abusing the APIs that we have. They are not sharing sensitive information. So I think the most important stuff is to identify misuse of APIs and let's say do kind of anomaly detection to understand where the usage of the API gone wrong, because once AI will do everything, and it will happen, I'm sure it will happen. I'm a developer. I have to believe this. Then I think the entire market is going to talk about API security and AI security, and we start to incorporate it into our plans, and we already are working for AI security, and API security, but it's going to get bigger. We need to think of how we get this traffic and how we inspect this traffic and so on.
Really interesting. Thanks for sharing all of that with us today, Roy. We're almost out of time, but I have just one question to kind of get to know you a bit more, which I ask all of our guests, which is, what would be your alternate career path if not for your job in tech?
I love to bake.
Wow.
My alternate career path. Wow. I don't know how to answer it. Like from when I was 6, I started to use MS DOS, and and I'm not sure I should say it in podcast, but started to copy games through floppy disks for my friends, and maybe try to hack their license and stuff like that. But at the end, what I really love is sports. I do a lot of sports, and I love baking, like a good housewife.
Great. Wow, those are some fun hobbies. Thanks so
Okay.
much for joining us today to talk about WAFs and just giving us a great overview of the space and what's happening and the solution that you're working on. Sounds very interesting. I want to encourage our listeners and viewers if you want to know more about CloudGuard WAF, which is the product that Checkpoint is building. Go head over to their website, the Checkpoint website, or just search Google for it. You'll find it. Or if you want to connect with Roy, you can find him on LinkedIn, Roy Barda. So yeah, with that we come to the end of this episode. And thanks so much, Roy, for joining us. It was a pleasure chatting with you. And thank you to all of our viewers and listeners as well for tuning in. And we hope to see you on the next episode. Take care. Bye bye.